Good evening, everyone. I'm Nathan, here with my wonderful wife, Laura.
Hello.
And we're here to do a review of a vintage Milton Bradley game, India and Puss in the Corner, and Johnny Jumps and the Railway game.
That's Railroad game. That's right. It has 4 different games. It's from 1956, according to the copyright down here. And also was a John Sands game as well as Milton Bradley, just in case anyone's reading this and can't see this tiny little bit down the bottom.
I do believe I've seen this re-released, or at least older and newer versions, but this is the version we've got. We're just going to look a quick look at each of these games. They play similar to other games that might already exist, but we'll explain the differences.
Yeah, there's definitely some differences between these and I guess more modern versions of equivalents.
Obviously, this was second-hand, which is why it's fairly beaten up.
It is. I mean, it's from the 50s, so what do you expect? Pretty much what you see here is everything. This is just a cardboard insert and there's nothing else underneath it.
It's just a bit of cardboard.
Just cardboard, yep.
You've got a metal spinner here, which controls the actions of all the games.
Except most of the games.
Except, yeah, one of the games which we're missing 2 dice, just regular dice, but we'll get to that after. And yeah, we've got the manual over there, which we'll have a scan of. So, the first game.
So, we're going to start with Game of India. Which is just called India on the front of the box. That's a game for 2, 3, or 4 players. I mean, that makes sense because it's basically Ludo.
Yeah.
Or Sorry.
So any of those variations, you basically have your little men or tokens in your starting space, and the aim is to get them out into the main track, take them all the way around, and get them safely to home without the other player sabotaging it, getting in your way, sending you back to home, etc., etc.
Indeed. I'm just trying to grab... that. I was going to say 4 of the same colour. I haven't done a very good job of that. I'm not sure if these are
original or not.
Quite alright, because there's too many of these. But this is just what our copy happened to come with. So we're going to just go with that for now. So the start spaces for India is actually with these cats.
It's basically just, yeah, your starting space. It could be anything. They just happen to be cat, because the cat's used for another game in the games.
Yes, so if you were playing as yellow, you would start with the cat that has the yellow around it, all 4 pieces here as your starting space. You then want to make it to your home that also matches your colour as well.
Now, it doesn't explicitly say in the manual, but I'm pretty sure you have to go counterclockwise around the board.
Yeah, it says move from right to left, which is not really what we do these days.
No, so basically the aim is once you get your little men out, which I'll explain how to in a second, you put him on the star here and you have to go all the way around. It wouldn't make sense if you started here and then just went straight into home.
No.
So
you have to go the other way. So you do have 2 dice, which again did not come with our copy, but they sound like just standard
dice.
ones. Yep.
To get your men out, you basically roll both dice, and you have to have both dice equal.
So you have to get a 5 on one of them, or both of them.
To equal 5.
If you get a 5 on one of them, you can take 1 piece out to the star space to the left of your cat. If you happen to roll 2 5s, then you can take 2 outs. They're allowed to be on the same space as each other.
Now, unlike Sorry, you can actually have these on the same space. Your men on the same space in the form of blockade. Where I know some versions of Ludo allow that and don't. This particular one does allow you to form a blockade with your pieces if they're both in the same space.
Yes. So you then roll the 2 dice each turn and you would accordingly move. So maybe I rolled a 2 and a 4. I can move one of them 2 and the other one I can move 4 if I would like.
Or just move the entire dice roll of 6.
Yeah, 4 plus 2 and move that way. The stars are safe spaces and the white ones are not. So if you are sitting on a white space and an opponent comes along, I'm coming over this way, and it lands on you on a white space, you're captured.
And sends your token back home to your coloured pussycat.
Yes. If you are on a space here and say Nathan was coming around but I'm on a safe space, he can't land on me at all. He can't share the space with me like he can with your own
if there's
colour.
no other moves that I can make and that's the only move, that it's not a valid move and I forfeit my turn effectively.
Yes. The other thing that you can't land on is, for example, if I was here, I form a blockade and no one can move past me.
Which I remember back in the days when I used to play Ludo, but I think no versions of Sorry that we've had allow that.
No, let us know if we're wrong, but the ones we have don't have that particular rule in the game.
So obviously they can only move past once this blockade is cleared, and if it's the only moves I've got to make are these two, I have to move it off there.
You have to move one.
So you have to make a move if there's a legal move to make.
Yes. So we would keep working our way around following the white track with the stars on it. When you're coming around here to where your home is, you can't go past it. You do have to come up this entrance. You can see it says India on the spaces. You do have to get to home by exact count as well.
Which is the same in a lot of Ludos and Sorries as well. So it shares a lot of similarities, this version, to more modern versions out there.
Just with a few little differences. The other major difference between India and something more modern is that, say I were to come out of start and capture Nathan, for example, not only does he go back to the start, but I actually get rewarded for that with 20 moves. That's a lot. I mean, this board is not very big, so 20, you're gonna go a long way.
And you have to take it that turn, and you can't split it between any more than just one piece.
Exactly. So that would send Nathan back, and I would go 20 around the board, and I mean, depending on where you are, that could be really helpful or completely useless.
Oh, we are forgetting one more thing. I call it the Monopoly rule.
Okay, yep.
You roll the dice. If you get a double, it's very unusual. You move your token or tokens.
So say you got a double one, just for simplicity here.
Got a double one, I move my tokens to whatever it is. I then look on the opposite side of the one on the dice.
Which would be a 6 on the opposite side.
And then the other one is a 6, which means I can then move more tokens, 12 more spaces.
Yes, you can move 1, 1, 6, 6, so you could move as many of your tokens as you like, or you can add them up. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then the 6s up equal 12, and
the reason I call it Monopoly one is if you roll dice doubles 3 times in a row, you forfeit your move, and then you have to send one of your men back home.
Yes.
Which is effectively going to jail in Monopoly.
Yes. So you do not want to roll doubles 3 times in a row. So after you get the doubles, you move both sides of the dice, and then you get another turn. If you then roll doubles again, you do all your moves, and then you get another roll. That's when you're in trouble if you get doubles again. I think that would be a highly unlikely thing to occur, though.
So, yeah, it plays like a traditional Ludo with a couple of more odd sort of choices, but, it's...
But otherwise that is Game of India.
All right, well, on to the next one.
All right, so the second game is the Railroad game, which is actually a 2-player only game.
Because there's only 2 tracks and 2 stations.
There is. So for this one, you use these railway tracks that go all the way around the outside of the board, the cardboard. Not entirely sure, again, whether these were the original pieces, but it just says to use an implement to represent your train.
Which makes me think it didn't include anything, but...
Or at least not these specific ones.
So basically, you start at your stations.
So there's station 1 here and station 2 on the other side.
Movement is controlled by the spinner and the colours on the outside, so you've got green, red and white.
Yep, you do not use the numbers on the inside ring for this particular game. They come into play with a different one.
For the first person who spins, a red goes first, and the aim is basically to take your implement all the way around the track once and get back to your station first.
Yes. So the railway that is only one colour, for example, this track is only white, can only be used by one person at a time. Same within the blue, only one player will be on that. The station 1 here only starts at the white, and station 2 starts at the blue, so that's how you know which colour is which. The bits here that have both colours can be used by both players.
So at the start, the station 1 and station 2 function slightly differently. When you pull out of station 1 and you hit the purple sort of dot here, you then go backwards and go way around the board until you then just pull into your station. Where station 2, you actually bypass the purple,
and you
go all the way around,
straight away.
And then once you hit it, when you come back to the station, then you reverse into your station.
Yes. So again, you mentioned that it's red on the spinner to start first. What you need to do is spin on your turn, and you need to spin the colour that is in front of you. So if I was playing station 1, I would go, oh, well, I got a red. That's just your test of who goes first, but I need a green. If I know I'm the one going first.
Now, it doesn't explain this in many, but I think this is how it works. I think someone might ask, if you're on a green and you got a purple one next, you don't have to roll the next colour after the purple to move there.
Yes, because there is no purple on the wheel.
It doesn't also mention if you spin a white, there are no white dots, there's only red and green. It could either be spin again, or my assumption would be that you just don't get a turn.
You just miss out. Yeah, it doesn't actually say what to do if you spin the white. So when you do that, the other thing that can occur is, say so I've reversed, I've come out of my station and now going this way. Station 2's come around. When you get to like the junction sort of thing here, you can't actually come in from the other side at the same time because this is a shared track.
Yes.
So if Nathan gets here to this one first, I actually can't move until he has spun the right things and continued past.
I've got right of way.
Yeah, whoever gets to the junction first wins the right to go first. That could be really boring, just sitting and waiting for someone to do that.
It suggests playing multiple rounds or multiple trips, but yeah, I don't know, it's pretty basic.
Yeah, it's not one I would really jump at to play. So that's essentially it. First one back to their original station is the winner.
All right, next one.
So the third one is Game of Johnny Jumps, and that is a 2, 3, or 4 player game.
Now this is an exciting one. Hold on to your hats.
So you take 1 token for each person who's playing, and you pick a red circle at the bottom of one of these L-shaped red circle sections. There's 1 in each corner. So yeah, say Nathan would start there and I'd start here. You use the spinner, but the numbers this time, not the colours on the outer ring. Highest spin is the player who gets to go first.
And the aim is basically get your Johnny token all the way...
Your Johnny jumper.
All the way around, back to your starting circle.
Just on the red circle. So none of these inner tracks are used. You just count these. You use the one at the base, it calls it, here, when you get there, as a jumping pad, I suppose, to jump to the other side.
And you have to roll, from what we interpret from the manual is, you have to roll the exact count and land on the end.
The jump space.
The jump space by an exact number. So the next spin will then jump you over to the next one.
Yeah, it just says you have to land there. It doesn't say whether you then jump on that turn or whether you just spin on your next turn and move. I suppose you could do it either way. If someone knows for sure which of those 2 ways it is, please let us know, because it's not very clear. It's pretty short instructions.
It is pretty short.
You cannot land on someone else, so maybe if I was sitting here and Nathan was coming up and he spun a 3.
Move forfeit.
Too bad. Nothing happens. The first one to make it jumping across the whole way around back is the winner.
So it's sort of like the game of India, except not as exciting.
It's just one, yeah. I mean, the only real tricky thing is getting that right spin, I suppose, to land on that.
And of course, you're just relying on the luck of the spinner.
One other thing, you do get to choose which one of these you start from, and then you move to your right. So if you did have 3 or 2, 3 or 4, you have to remember which one you started at, because everyone will be finishing in a different location.
Yeah. All right.
That's it for that one. So on to the last one.
Puss in the corner.
So this is probably the strangest one included in this little compilation.
Yes, the rules are very loosey-goosey when it comes to explaining exactly how this is played.
And it's really not a board game. It doesn't need to be on this board. So Game of Puss in the Corner it says 3 to 5 players, but I would suggest it would work better with 3 or 5 players, not 4. And the reason for that is one person in, say, a 3-player game is going to be outpuss.
So someone that doesn't have a corner assigned to them.
Yep. The other 2 players will have 1 corner and 1 token each as their cat. So the 3rd player is the outpuss. Has to leave their hand sort of hovering in the middle of the board near the home sections.
But you haven't mentioned how you actually win.
Oh, well, I was explaining how to play. So the 2 players need, we think, opposite corners, although it doesn't specify.
But it would make sense considering what we're about to do.
Yes. We need to slide and exchange our cat tokens from one corner to another.
An outpuss is going to try and put their hand on any tokens that slide across the board, or another person's hand who's in the middle of sliding a token across the board.
Yeah, so maybe I'm outpuss and Nathan's playing against someone over here. Could you start putting your hand on? I can, when you're starting to slide, I manage to touch your hand, I'm no longer outpuss.
And you get my corner and token, then it's your turn to try and exchange.
Then you're outpuss. You win by being the person who is outpuss the least.
Now, it doesn't mention how... Yes.
Yeah, police. No, I said that right.
It doesn't mention the manual how you measure that, either by time or how many times you've had control of the corners or anything. So feel free to experiment. I'm sure it'll be very exciting for all involved.
Yeah, that's all you do. You slide them backwards and forwards, either in a 2 or sort of 4, if you want all 4 players.
Would you like to hear a problem about this?
Yeah.
So it says you're supposed to slide it across. There's a big metal arrow there that it keeps getting caught on.
Yep. The other thing is, this is just cardboard, and I feel like if you're like rushing to grab somebody's hand or touch it, there's more chance you're going to damage what is a fairly fragile item.
I mean, you could play this without a board. Just have two.
Just do it on the table or
just
something.
have a napkin here, and then off you go. Just flick away.
Yeah, that's very true. One other way you can get yourself a corner and not become outpussed is if, say, Nathan slid it across, but it didn't go all the way over. Outpuss can grab it from here and touch it. They also can't come off the board. You do have to slide them. You're not picking them up and moving them.
So if we're going to rank them in the tier list...
Oh. Okay. I didn't realise we were doing that.
The game of India is clearly the star of the show out of this collection of 4 games.
The railroad game is okay, but I think their suggestion of playing it in rounds would be wise. Otherwise, you'd be like, well, we've played that, we're done, pack it up, and it would be very quick.
Johnny Jumps is an extremely basic game reliant almost entirely on luck, and the Puss in the Corner is almost unplayable in how it's presented here.
I just don't think it needs to be on a board. Look, maybe, I don't know. Maybe some people like that, but like you said, I think I'd just play it on a table if I was going to play
I think that'd hurt your hand. I'd be trying to slap your hand.
Yeah, Nathan's pretty competitive.
You don't want to play Snap with me.
Yeah. If you enjoyed watching this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments section down below if you've played any of these games in like this particular form. So not like Sorry or Ludo, but Game of India specifically.
And as I mentioned, I think I might have seen an older or newer release of this particular compilation, but my memory's getting pretty fuzzy in my old age.
Is it? You're not that old. Hit that subscribe button and check back soon. We have videos every single Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.